NWEA is the Northwest Evaluation Association, and that's a large American education establishment, and that's used by many schools. This establishment or this organization is used by many schools around the globe to assess and measure educational growth in students, okay, and map measures of academic progress. So basically measuring the progress of students as they go through school. And we're focusing today on grades 4 to 8. Okay, we'll flick through some of the slides. Ms. Hayam will start, as I mentioned, and then you can either send your questions in the chat and we'll try and get back to you as soon as we can, or, you know, if they're simple questions, then we will try and respond at the end if we have time. We've got about 12 or 13 slides only to get through, and then we'll take your questions at the end. So I'll pass over to Ms. Hayam for the first few slides, and I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you, Ms. Hayam.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Dear parents, our valued students, and respected staff, good afternoon. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. I'm Mrs. Hayam, the Academic Supervisor of KG and the Primary Sections. In today's webinar, Mr. Cooper and I will introduce you to a worldwide assessment program called MAP, Measures of Academic Progress. MAP is created by the Northwest Evaluation Association. This webinar provides a detailed presentation on the MAP standardized assessment and why it's an important assessment for your child. Inshallah, as Mr. Cooper said, we will have at the end time for a discussion and any questions. First, I'm going to talk about the purpose and academic objectives of the MAP standardized test. The MAP is a suite of assessments that deliver data needed to make a difference in student progress. The MAP test is essential to assess teachers in identifying a child's strengths and weaknesses, to track the child's academic achievements and developments through their time at school. It's essential to compare the child's academic growth with what is expected for a particular school year, to make it possible to predict a child's academic development, achievement, and grades, and most importantly, to help teachers and administrators in planning instruction based on students' strengths and needs. I'd now like to move on the next part, which is parents' roles and engagement required for student success. Although most structured learning takes place in the confines of the school, that doesn't mean that parents cannot have an active role in their children's performance. Parents can help by making sure your children are on a healthy diet, ensuring plenty of rest routinely, and by providing a place at home where the children can concentrate on schoolwork. The parents can help by serving as role models, by reading and providing materials for your children at home. Make a habit out of living through reading. Consider cookbooks, television manuals, online magazines, and cereal boxes. They can help by displaying an interest in student learning, by asking questions about their school day, and by talking to your children to the library, by taking them to the library to check out books. Encouraging children to write and increase vocabulary at home, and that could be achieved by encouraging your child to prepare a grocery list, for example, or keeping a daily journal, as well as play various word games. They can help also by providing activities that enrich and relate mathematics to daily life, such as managing money or cooking. Now I'll pass this presentation over to Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Miss. Hope you're having a good time over there. Okay, so some good tips there, some things that maybe I could implement in my life as well. I think so. Thank you very much, Ms. Hian. Okay, let's move on. So, how do I measure my growth over the years? Okay, it's a great idea. We've got a little discussion sort of pictured up there in the right-hand side of the slide. It's a great idea as a student to have those discussions with your parents or with your older brother or with your older sister about your educational goals and how you're doing in school, and also your life goals. You know, grade 4, maybe that's a bit hard to think about, but grade 8, if you think about your place now in your education, next year, inshallah, you'll be going into grade 9 and then into grade 10 high school. After that, it won't be long before you start university. So if you are measuring your growth over the years in your education, you take your report card seriously, you're really looking at your, you know, your end of year exams, you're looking at your quizzes, you're discussing it with your parents and your family, you're more likely to have a fruitful discussion and go forward in your education. Likewise, in life goals as well. So as an example, we've got a little snippet there at the bottom. How would you measure your height and show that you're growing? You'd use a chart, or you'd ask someone if you were younger to measure you with a tape measure. Would you do that every day? No, because you wouldn't notice the growth. But if you did it regularly over the years, you would notice the growth. Or if you were an athlete or a bodybuilder, you would make a plan to make your times faster or to grow your muscles stronger, okay? And you would keep checking your progress and keep a record of it. So that plan and that progress will be implemented over the years, and you will see yourself improving. And also along that timeline, you will see where your strengths and weaknesses are. Likewise, this is what we're trying to find out in the MAP test. So measuring your growth, having those discussions about your educational goals, your educational growth, and also life and life skills, a very important thing. And many, many successful people, they do that. Okay, so the MAP growth on the MAP test does the same thing with your school life. It measures your progress from grade 4 through to grade 8 in math, as we are doing, language and reading. That's what we will be doing. So we can see your progress, and it could be an indicator that you have a special talent. You have a special talent for reading and understanding. You have a special talent in math. We could identify that via the MAP test, okay? So if you've got that talent, let's say in grade 4, we are looking to develop that into grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8. And if that could change, you know, you could be a little bit weak in reading and language, and then you really flourish and start to grow later on in grade 8, and then you realize, oh, you know, in grade 9 in high school, I really want to focus on English and language, or I really want to focus on math, for example. So this is something that the MAP, inshallah, will identify. But why MAP? Here's a question for you just to think about. Why MAP? We already do, as I mentioned, the end of semester tests. So why MAP? Well, MAP is an internationally recognized test, so we can measure your progress not only in Al Rawad International School, okay, against other students in Al Rawad, okay, or Saudi Arabia, but because it's an internationally recognized test from America, then we can measure our progress as a school and your progress as students against other areas around the world, around the globe. Okay, and this is done via a RIT, what is called, or what is known as the RIT score. So you take the test and you get a score. It's called the RIT score. And this is important to know your level from now, because when you go to the business world, when you go to university, when you get out there in the big wide world, you'll be competing against and you'll be working with and studying with many different students from around the world. So it makes sense to assess or use an assessment tool that is world known and world renowned. And that's why at Al Rawad, we've chosen MAP. So that thing has got an international flavor. As an international school, we want an international assessment tool, not just the in-house exams. Alternatively, we could look at it another way. When you go into upper grades, you may choose to go into the IG section and then eventually A levels, which again is an internationally recognized qualification, which will make it easy for you to access universities, jobs, and high quality education, for example. So that's why we use the map for that international flavor. So are you ready? This is a challenge. You can see the challenge at the bottom. Are you going to accept the challenge as students, as parents, to support your sons and daughters to really do well, to get that accurate picture of where they are in the international educational market? We're ready, and we hope that you are as well. Okay, let's move on. So the computer adaptive test that the students, your sons and daughters, will be taking. So I've written there that you'll go to the computer lab. It's a bit up in the air at the moment which grades are going to do what. It's highly likely that obviously lower grades, you are going to do the test at home on the computer. It's possible, we don't know exactly right now what 7 and 8 are going to do, whether it will be in school, but the decision will be made soon, whether they will do that test in school or it will be at home. So please be patient with us, and we will try and get you that decision as soon as possible. So the adaptive nature of the test is that if you answer correctly, the next question may get slightly more challenging. If you answer incorrectly, the question on the test in math, reading, and language will become slightly easier, let's say. Okay, it'll be easier to help you to find your level, and then the test will level out to your ability. And the tests that you are going to take are in math, reading, and language, and the topics are similar to that which you are already studying in, for example, Reading Street or Envision Math. So you don't need to revise, okay? It's always good to refresh your knowledge, to read through the passages again in your books, to go over the math concepts, to practice your reading. And if you do that, you'll find no problem in math, okay? You'll be fine. The test will adapt itself to your level anyway as a student. So nothing to worry about. Enjoy it, and like we said, accept the challenge to do your very best. We want to see you, really flourish and get good grades and do the best you possibly can. So there, again, before the map test, you can use there, you can search for in the brackets, map, NWEA warm-up. I don't know if you want to take a screenshot of that or quickly snap that with your phone. You can search for map NWEA warm-up, maybe, have a little search on YouTube or Google it, and you can do some practice questions. But like I said, you don't need to revise specific topics. Practice your reading, go over some math concepts in your book that you're studying with your teachers online or in school in the case of grades 7 and 8, and do your best. Okay, that's the message. But again, be positive and accept the challenge. Okay, so during the map test, like I mentioned, you won't be expected to know every question and get like 100% or a huge RIT score. Okay, it will adapt and make it challenging or make it a bit easier. Okay, so you won't be expected to know every question. So as a student, don't worry. You can not skip questions and you can't go back. Okay, but you may change your answer. So maybe you've written something, or you've chosen, a solution to a math problem, and then you realize, oh, that's not quite right. As long as you haven't pressed the go on button, you can change it. Okay, you can change it. But if you cannot solve the problem, or you don't understand the question, and you've exhausted your possibilities, just press go on. Once you press go on, you'll get an easier question. Okay, if you got it right, it will give you a slightly more challenging question, but keep going until you go to the end of the test. And like for every test, please show consideration for your classmates if that's in school. Okay, treat it like it's an exam. If you're in the exam hall, no talking, no shouting out, concentrate, take your test in a calm way. And when you've finished, please do not disturb others. Just wait or put your hand up and you can speak to the controller in the lab if we are choosing to do it in school. So be courteous, try and answer the questions properly, because as a student and as a school, we want accuracy. We want the assessment to be accurate so that we have an accurate picture of what work we can give you to challenge you, to give you the work that's good for you to do. Not so it's too easy and you're bored, or not so the work is too difficult and you can't do it. We need to assign you work in school and in homework and on projects, and when we give the exams, that is challenging for you and at the correct level. Not too hard, not too easy, so you're bored. Okay, so I hope that's clear. So that's during the map test. Let's move on. So this is just like a slide basically of how many questions roughly you will be attempting. So you can see there a very quick slide, but it's around about 40 to 50 questions, depending on whether it's language, math, or reading. But the point is, read the question carefully. It might seem a lot, but quite often the reading, for example, you'd only have to read the passage once, and there will be 2 or 3 questions related to that passage. Okay, or the math questions, they'll mainly be multiple choice, for example. So you will get through it, and inshallah, you'll be successful. Okay, so here is an example of achievement in math. So let's say in grade 4, you got 199 as your score in math in the map test. Okay, then as you went into grade 5, before that you identified your weaknesses, your teacher worked with you, you needed to work on, for example, multiplication tables, or you needed to work on shape and space, or you needed to work on your number bonds and your additions from mental math, and you worked on it, and in grade 5, yes, you achieved another extra 19 points. Okay, so that's good. So what do you think your goal that you could set with your parents, for grade 6? Do you think you could add another 20 points to that? Do you think you could get to maybe 230? On here, on grade 6, we've put an example as like 222 as your RIT score. I know they're just numbers, but within these numbers, obviously, there are actually math concepts or reading concepts or language concepts that go with these scores. So you would set yourself targets just as you would, you set yourself targets in life. Like I've got a target at the moment that I need to maintain doing 8 pull-ups when I go and do my training, or when I go to the gym. 8 pull-ups for 3 sets. I'm getting a bit old now, but that's one of my goals, to keep trying to do as many pull-ups as I can on the bar. Okay? In life, maybe one of your goals is a lower grade student. You want to memorize all of your times tables up to the 14 times table. Okay? Or you want to read a large book that is 2 years above your reading level. Or you want to know all the names of the shapes up to grade 6, but I'm only in grade 5 at the moment. These are goals that you could set. Make sure they're realistic and they're smart goals, and keep a record of it. Set those goals in your life and set those goals in education, and you will find that you will achieve them. Inshallah, you will achieve them with the help of your teacher, with the help of the mudir, with the help of the academic manager, with the help of your brothers and sisters, and importantly, your parents. Okay? So do these things, accept the challenge, and set your goals and achieve them. I hope that's clear. Okay, so let's move on. The map test will recognize if you are rapidly guessing the questions or not. So if you're just, flicking through it, you don't know, you're not sure, you just click, hey, I don't know, it's A or whatever, you just want to finish the test. The timing is recorded by the class monitor, which is called a proctor. So the class monitor in the program itself will recognize if you're doing that. No need to rush, to be honest. No need to rush. If you don't know, then click forward. If you're not sure, try and read it again to understand the question, and then answer. But the program will recognize if you are just rushing through. Try and answer, slow down, always try your best. And be honest and sincere. Be honest and sincere to yourself in education. If you don't know, you don't know. It's not a big failure. Being honest and acknowledging that you don't know something is a strength. That's a strength, because then you realize you need to work on it. Like I said, shape and space, you need to improve. Multiplication tables, you need to improve. When you get into grade 7 and 8, there's some more complex math problems that come along. You need to improve. So have that in your life as an idea that not knowing something is not a weakness. Okay? If you recognize you don't know it, it's a strength. Then you go and understand it, understand the concept, understand that knowledge. Okay? So after the map test, the English and math teachers will be, given a report, and the managers here in the school, we have a report, and we, look at it, we analyze it, and we try and find what are your strengths and weaknesses as an individual student. And we also analyze our strengths and weaknesses as a school. Maybe it's that we need to improve the teaching of math in a particular area, or we need to improve in the teaching of reading in a particular area or age group, whether that could be boys or girls or grade 4 or whatever it may be. So we analyze that data. And a big report is also created, and also an individual student report, which the parents eventually will be provided with, inshallah. So remember though, the test doesn't count on your final report. Your report card in school, it doesn't count to that, but it is important from an international perspective, like we said, and for measuring progress against those educational goals that you set yourself, and against the standards in the curriculum that we follow here in Arawad International School. And then you will begin to understand how much you've grown since last year. In grade 4, it will be your first test. But in grade 8, you may have done this test, 5, 6, maybe 7 times before. So if you're seeing your progress along the way, then you will know what you've done well in and where you need to improve. And like I said, your teacher and the other people in school and at home, hopefully they will help you. And then you'll be able to set your goals together to continue growing, whether that's from grade 4 to 5, or whether it's from 5 to 6, or from 8 into 9. So we talk a lot about testing here in Saudi Arabia. I remember when I first came to Saudi Arabia 9 years ago from England, I thought, oh no, there's so much testing going on here. There's quizzes, there's pop quiz, there's mid-semester, there's end of semester, quite a few different things. So what I want you to remember as students is you already have many, many skills, okay? You've got lots of powerful knowledge. Some of you could be very good sportsmen or women. Some of you could have very strong IT skills. You've got the language skills in English, Arabic, okay, and French. You've already got these skills. You've also got Islamic knowledge. So never think that just because I didn't do well in a particular test, that you haven't got strong skills and knowledge. Always remember that you've got a lot of knowledge and that you're very smart and you always can improve. And you haven't failed just because you didn't do well in one particular test. But your goal is to keep growing, to keep improving, and to be the best that you possibly can. And inshallah, we will all, you as students, us as teachers and the school and your parents will all work together to support you and to help you to achieve that. So the final slide, do you accept the challenge? Are you ready for the map test? So I'll just hand you back to Miss Hiyam. Maybe she's got some questions that we can answer. Jazakumullahu khairan for listening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. At the end, I need all our students to know that the MAP test is a non-timed computer adaptive test, and every student gets a unique set of questions based on response to previous questions. As you said, as the student answers correctly, questions get harder. If the student answers incorrectly, the questions get easier. And by the end of the test, most of the students will have or will receive a red score. And this score reflects the student's academic knowledge, skills, and abilities. This year, inshallah, we'll have it for the grades 4 to 8 in the 3 subjects, as you mentioned, reading, language, and math. Now, let's move on to some Q&As. If anyone has any question, please feel free to ask now, and we'll be, inshallah, we'll do our best to address them.
I've got a question here, Miss, from the beginning. I am grade 5 and I'm taking the MAP test. If I don't do well, will I go back to grade 4? No, you won't need to go back to grade 4 because the test itself will give you slightly easier questions, but I'm sure you'll do well. Okay, do your best. That's the message. So thank you for that question. Another question is, will the test affect our grades? No, the MAP test is independent and separate from the internal exams that we give as quizzes and exams. So the MAP test will not affect your grade, but again, do your best. We've also got a question, what is a MAP test? I think we covered that. It's an online test that you will sit, you will receive a link, and you will receive all the technical support about what you need on the computer, what time it will be, when it will be, how long it will be. You will receive all that information. And it's just a simple test that is online. I mean, you've been doing your quizzes and your exams in lower grades anyway, online. So it's just, it's similar to that. It's an online test.
Yes, there's a question for when it will be. Inshallah, we'll send an announcement when we have set dates and time.
Is Mr. Nabil with us in the group? Mr. Nabil, are you with us? No, we have a question. What's the average grade for grade 8? That's a brilliant question. I don't know the answer to that yet, but if Mr. Nabil joins us, I'm sure he'll be able to tell us that. If not, we will find out and we will get back to you, the average grade. We've also got another question. Why haven't we done the test before? Grade 4, if you're in grade 4, you won't have done the test before because we only subscribed from grade 4 to grade 8. It's possible that you may have been in another school where they didn't do the test, for example, but the test only starts in grade 4 and then goes on to grade 8. Any other questions, Ms. Hayam?
For the parents who ask if it's ilzami, it's mandatory. Yes, we prefer all our students to sit for this test.
Yeah, it's important that as many students sit the test as possible, and that also the students, they answer as honestly and sincerely as possible. The reason being, we want to get an accurate picture of the data so that we can, we might need to change up our teaching style in a certain way or focus on a particular group of students. So the more students that sit the test, the richer and the better the data we can get is for us as a school and for you as parents and for the individual students. So good question. Any other questions, or is Mr. Nabil with us yet? Any other questions, Ms. Hayam?
It's not clear here, is it? For more information about the MAP tests, all students will have all the information needed from their teachers in school.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of this test? As mentioned in our webinar, it's to assess the academic level of the student and then we work on improving or developing his academic level.
Yeah, I think the benefit of the test is exactly as you said, Miss, and also the international perspective. We're an international school, so we want to see how our students are doing from an international perspective. Any other questions, Miss? Or
No, they're the same questions. I think that brings us, Mr. Cooper, to the end of the presentation. Thank you all for your time and attention, and I wish the best for all our students.
thank you. If, like I said, if there are any other questions or something that we missed in the chat, then you can contact us at school. If you go to the school website and look at the contact page, you can see our emails there, and you can either email us or drop us a message, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Like Ms. Ham said, you'll be provided further details about the MAP test in the very near future, with regards to the technical things that you will need on your computer, the timings and the dates. Inshallah, you will be updated with that fairly soon, I hope, inshallah. Well, Jazakumullahu khairan for listening, and thank you for the people who enabled this presentation. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.